You know, I can go my entire life now without ever hearing the damn phrases football's dead, football's alive, football won, it's just nonsense. It's just nonsense. Like, football wasn't winning yesterday when all these teams were going to be guaranteed and some shitty teams were going to continue being in the tournament over and over and over, and there was no repercussions for losing for them. And football sure as hell isn't winning today when it's a 36 fucking team Champions League new format apparently that is going to be decided by half, where the knockouts are going to be decided half by winning and half by where you are in the coefficient, which means surprise, surprise, Arsenal, who are 11th in the coefficient, despite having not been in the Champions League for the past 5 years, but because they can stat pad in the Europa League, we can just give them a fucking bunch of coefficient points. They're gonna be just as successful in this new Champions League format as they were gonna be in the Super League. And just this like whole idea that now competitiveness won. Nobody won and nobody lost. Nothing actually changed. Not for the better, not for the worse. I mean, net probably, seeing as we didn't actually have the Super League, probably net for the worse because this new fucking Champions League format's the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, just some of the arguments I see, like, both sides, just fucking idiots. Like, you know, the holier than thou attitude, like, you get it and nobody else does. Like, the Nostradamus, like, I knew how the Super League was gonna work. Both sides are like, yeah. It's either gonna be boring, which is just the most, like, loaded piece of crap argument I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, please, watch any other sport. Watch any other sport. Do you ever get bored of watching good games? Who the hell has ever said that? I don't understand where that kind of logic even comes from. Like, our entire childhood was built on the fact that these Champions League, my entire childhood at least, was built on remembering these amazing Champions League ties that happened over and over. You know, Chelsea and Liverpool in the semifinals, Chelsea and Barcelona, Madrid, all those El Clásicos in the 2010s, all the Milan United games, all these kind of stuff. You tell me you wanted less of those? You tell me to this past, like, this season when you watched PSG and Bayern, you thought, man, I wish we could get less of that. You know, I wish we could just get we need one game in between where they just play Ludogorets. You know, that's what apparently some people are saying, you know. Otherwise, if they're not playing some shitty team in the middle, is it really worth it? Can you really apparently appreciate the beauty of the game? Yes, you can. Yesterday, I watched 2 days ago or 3 days ago, I watched the Warriors and Celtics play, and yesterday I watched the Warriors and Sixers play. And you know what? The first one being great did not in any way affect the fact that the second one was great. Okay, they didn't dampen each other's fucking entertainment. That's the most bullshit ass argument I've ever heard in my entire life. So there's that one side. Then you get the other side, and they're like, oh, well, you know, football's dead now. You guys are so short-sighted. How could you not see this? This was the only option. Okay, no, it wasn't the only option. Okay, there's plenty of damn options. This one, the one we're going to end up with, this new fucking Champions League format, just isn't the right one. Now, if you ask me which one do I want more, I want the Super League. Between those two, I mean, this new fucking Champions League format is the worst, man. It's the worst. And if you ask me if I could get at one competition that is super concentrated with the best teams, but there's some slight tweaks where it's less competitive because Arsenal and Spurs and these kind of teams are not going to get relegated at any point. If you ask me, I can have that, or basically the exact same thing, but bigger, with a lot of bad teams that no one's gonna watch anyway. And before you fucking tell me, oh bro, those teams as fans are watching, you know? They want to watch. Those teams as fans can watch them in the league, okay? They can watch them in the league. When Dinamo Zagreb or Red Star Belgrade or Apoel Nicosia, when they want to fucking do that, they can go watch their team stat pad 23,000 titles in the league, okay? They already enjoy some stuff. So I don't need to treat them like little puppy dogs, okay? They already win a hell of a lot. I don't feel the need to feel sorry for them. Okay, there's nothing to feel sorry for them about. Especially seeing as this is the system we've had the entire time. None of you guys have been complaining. This is the system. For you to have been a football fan for this damn long, all right, you'd have had to already acknowledge the fact that the big guy in this sport steps on the little guy, and that's the only way the sport runs. Okay, and if that thought was so damn disgusting to you, It should have been disgusting a year ago, 2 years ago, 20 years ago, and you wouldn't have been able to watch the game. But now all these guys are telling me, oh man, the lack of competitiveness is disgusting. I don't want to watch. What a load of crap, man. Your asses would have been... Your ass would have been on the damn couch watching that fucking TV. Every single time the game was on, your ass would have been watching. So like this nonsense that the Super League was going to be boring or whatever, that's a load of crap. Ultimately, football didn't win today. It didn't lose either because it's basically the same principle. It's following the same principles. The big teams still win. The small teams still lose. It doesn't matter. And the only thing that the Super League actually did was put pen to paper on what we all actually knew practically was true. Everybody's like, well, Arsenal can't get relegated from the Super League. Tottenham can get relegated from the Super League. Whatever can't get relegated from the Super League. You know where that exists? The Premier League. Technically, by the strictest technical measures, yes, Arsenal can get relegated. Practically, no, Arsenal, of course, can't get relegated. They're too big to fail. They're a fucking bank. They're JP Morgan. They're Barclays. They're Bank of America. They're too big to fail. They're Wells Fargo. That's what they are. They're too big to fail. Okay? Arsenal make every wrong decision. People telling me about this is a fucking meritocracy. Cut the crap, man. Nothing about this sport has ever been a meritocracy. Arsenal make every single administrative error ever, and they finished 11th. Leeds make maybe some administrative errors. They'd finish League One. They'd be right next to Sunderland. That's what they end up being. So don't give me the fucking meritocracy crap. Look, ideally, I don't want either of these tournaments. I want a tournament where everybody has to qualify. I want a tournament where everybody has repercussions for losing. Okay? But JP Morgan doesn't cut $3.5 billion checks with the potential for Arsenal to not be in the competition, but Atalanta to be in the competition. Because Atalanta aren't even fucking popular in Italy, let alone around the world. Okay? And the whole thing about, oh, well, the game isn't growing. Look, man, I'm just a fan. I don't give a fuck if the game is growing, in all honesty, okay? The game is going nowhere. Whether I like it or not, the Super League was going to grow the game, sure. Okay, a bunch of people who didn't used to watch were going to start watching because of the Super League. But that doesn't affect me anyway. I really don't care, honestly. I was going to watch with the Super League, without the Super League, and all these people who were saying, oh, you know, you wouldn't be, when I was like defending the Super League, because look, I didn't even like the Super League. I just thought some of your arguments were so goddamn stupid. Something had to be said. Like, you can't just let that level of stupidity just go unchallenged. Some people were saying, oh, you're only saying this because your team's in the Super League. I was like, dude, if my team was in the Super League, yeah, I'd probably be a little bit more pissed. But you know what I'd do? Just come Sunday, I'd turn my TV on and I'd watch Sassuolo. I'd watch Milan Sassuolo. And that's all you can ever do. And that's what I'll continue to do. And nothing that happened today, tomorrow, yesterday, 2 days ago will ever change that fact. It's the same shit. It's always the same shit. UEFA's to blame for all this, ultimately. Like, if we're going to actually sit down and talk, and because the Super League will be back. Mark my words, like, it's going to be back. You guys want to have, like, your whole fucking picnic and celebration. But at the end of the day, what's going to happen is now everybody's complacent, because they always are. Everybody's complacent. Nothing's going to actually be done. The Champions League reforms suck. And they're not incentivizing enough for those teams. And they're also not in any way regulatory to those teams. So there's no way that those teams are actually going to get some sort of spending limit or anything like that. So that's never going to happen. And then those big teams are going to continue being big and they're going to continue winning everything. And then they're going to revisit this point again when when the shock of this whole thing is weared out. And the Champions League, and we realize it's the same 20 teams anyway. So we might as well just make them guaranteed. They're going to run this back again. And just fundamentally, UEFA caused all this. UEFA caused all this by making it impossible in this sport to compete without billionaire ownership, without billionaire investment. Okay? You cannot win any league title in the top 5 leagues without billionaire ownership. Okay? Or at least you can't sustain winning success continuously without billionaire investment. And once you do that, what do you open the floodgates for? Forget the billionaires coming in, but before that, what do you open the floodgates for? You open the floodgates for the average fan to want billionaire ownership. Because they think, I don't want to fucking be 12th. I don't want to be 10th. I don't want to be 9th. I don't even want to be 7th. I want to win the damn thing. And the only chance I ever have at winning this damn thing is if I get a billionaire owner to buy my club. And once fans not just welcome billionaire owners, but plead for them. Once they plead for billionaire owners, right? At that point, you're done. You're done. Because once those billionaires came in, all they were going to do is look at a market. They were going to do what billionaires do. What do billionaires do? They try to make profit. And they came to an industry that was unbelievably unprofitable. Okay? The billionaires that had already invested, like Roman Abramovich and Silvio Berlusconi, those guys did it for the love of the game. They liked the teams. They wanted to make their teams better. That was the basic point. Joel Glazer doesn't give a fuck about Manchester United. John Henry doesn't give a fuck about Liverpool. Stan Kroenke doesn't give a fuck about Arsenal. But they do like a balance sheet at the end of the week, at the end of the season. And they want a balance sheet. And their balance sheet says, we're propping up the smaller teams. And then the smaller Premier League teams say, we're propping up the championship clubs, and so on and so on and so on down the ladder, because there's no type of accountability and there's no type of regulation from the FA that they're the ones holding everybody together, instead of one tier holding the next tier by a very thin thread. That's what's happening right now. And as long as that exists, and it will exist, because, like I said, everybody's gonna rest on their laurels, and no one's gonna do anything. Like, no one's gonna actually campaign for anything more change. And everybody, in 5, 6, 10, 20, whatever, how many years time, we'll be right back here having this same discussion, and people will be just as outraged. And Sky Sports, the fucking losers, those fucking bumps who just lost. That's the only reason they were pissed. They thought they had lost. That's all that was. It's bad for the game. It's bad for the game. They fucking do all this free live stream for the Monday Night Football telebroadcast, and then as soon as the games are, you can't watch anymore. Why? Well, because we have a TV deal. We have money to make. That's why. Trying to think what other points I have. I mean, the whole idea that the Super League is they watched Messi and Ronaldo play each other over and over and over. They watched the two greatest of our generation. Fuck that. The two greatest ever. They watched them play on the two biggest teams in the world. The two biggest rivals in the world. And they watched them play in the same league at the same time for almost a decade. Over and over and over they played. Okay? And every single time, no matter how often they played, we all watched. Even when it was rotated bunch of teams. Even when Jose Pinto and Isaac Cuenca were playing. We all watched because those were the most box office times of our lives for football. And they saw that, the corporate sponsors that is, and the corporate owners, they saw that and thought, we should never, ever, ever have anything but this again. Okay? There is no reason, there's absolutely no reason to have a geographical limitation or a competition limitation that prevents the two best players from playing each other as often as we can possibly get. That's what they think. Honestly, they're not wrong. I mean, those Clásicos, man, those were the fucking pinnacle of football. Like, football is never, ever going to be played better than that. And they were the pinnacle of rivalry, and everybody watched, and everybody was entertained. It was probably the peak of football in terms of value and entertainment it'll probably ever reach. And it's a saddening reality that we're just going to keep letting these guys win, Because everybody's like, oh, football won, and the billionaires lost or whatever. No. Billionaires won. They always win. Because the same billionaires that were going to do the Super League are now, were still the same billionaires that were running UEFA when everybody was fine with it, Like, were those guys good back then? Then they heel turned because it was a fucking WWE match. That's just how the reality is. I mean, it's a disappointing reality, but I just don't know. What I do know, actually, you know what? I do know. What I do know is football isn't going anywhere. It's fine, man. Everybody just goes like, oh, we're losing viewership here, we're losing viewership there. Football's fine, man. Cut the crap, man. Football's fine. The viewership is fine. Everything's fine. Like, we're good. We're going to all run it back. We're all going to all watch our teams. And then eventually when the Super League does happen, when they've finally gotten everybody on board, and there's no shock because we've already had this year. So when they do it in 5 years, it won't be like, oh my God, I've never seen this before. Once they implement the European Super League, we're also gonna run that back, and we're gonna be like, hey, you know what? Fair enough. Fuck it. We'll just watch it anyway, because that's just how the sport runs.